right, Chris, thanks for joining me today. Appreciate your taking some time. It's been wonderful to work with you and your team on this really important search here for Oakwood. And want to get a bit into the search and the role, but would first have yourself just introduce yourself and talk a bit about your background and what brought you to Oakwood.
Hey Gabe, good to see you. It's always enjoyable to work with you. I'm Chris Thomas. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Oakwood School, and I've been working with the school since about 2010. A little bit of background for me is kind of how I came into this role. I spent the first half of my career, first 15 years or so, working with colleges, universities, and independent schools kind of across the country, doing a lot of consulting with them on facilities management, business operations, to other finance matters that came up. And I loved that work. It was great work. But in 2010, I met this school called Oakwood School, became one of my clients, and I began working with them. And by that time, I had been working for quite some time doing my consulting work. So I'm going to quickly fast forward to why I came to Oakwood. Um, Oakwood was an interesting place. The day I walked in here, I remember I worked with the person who actually at the time was sitting in my chair. He was the chief operating officer, and we quickly developed a strong relationship. And this was kind of one of those places that I felt that I was making a difference, but I wanted a place that I felt like I could kind of come in and make a sustainable and long-term kind of distance that was impactful to me, that a place that I could impact, because Oakwood was having an impact on me. This was the only place of all my clients across the country that I would go home after coming to Oakwood and tell my wife, if an opportunity ever comes up at Oakwood, I'm going to take it. And I always kind of joked around about that, never expecting that to actually come to fruition. But as I developed the relationship, my predecessor, who was in this role, started to ask me whether or not I would ever consider replacing him when he retired. And I always shrugged it off. No, I would never do that. But that relationship continued to flourish. Unfortunately, my predecessor ended up passing away, and by that time, I had developed a really deep relationship with Oakwood School, and Oakwood reached out to me on the right day at the right time and asked if I would come, and I dropped everything. I had a great career doing what I was doing. It was really great work, but the difference for Oakwood, to me, the draw for me was it was a place that I felt like could come and make a difference and really find a place that I could belong to. So that's really how I came here to Oakwood. I've been here since 2015 in my current role as the chief operating officer, and it's been phenomenal. I mean, it's been great. So, and I would not ever go back.
That's a wonderful story. And as somebody who has taken a tour with you at the school, I know firsthand actually that the impact that you said you wanted to have, you wanted to, and you have. And I remember just walking through the halls and the campus and the corridors, and you talking about different spaces and sort of ideas. And I can just tell it's resonated with you. For those who haven't been there, talk a little bit about the campus, the school, and I would love it if you could weave in a bit of some of the projects that you have been able to see ahead and go, this is what we needed, or this is something that you were able to do. So folks who are watching this can get a sense of that impact that you have wanted to have, and you did have, and are having, and will continue to have.
Yeah, thanks. Well, if I think about Oakwood, so let me just kind of describe a little bit about Oakwood. Sits on two campuses in North Hollywood, California. And the campuses are 5 to 10 minutes apart. We have an elementary campus that's a K through 6, and a secondary campus that's 7 through 12. And the business office where we sit is on the secondary campus. When you come to Oakwood, you'll see that it's not your typical private school campus. It's a little bit of and it's intentional. Oakwood is kind of a quirky place. It's a little bit of a, my words, probably not what Oakwood would describe itself as, is a kind of a hodgepodge of new and old buildings, and we've we've uh, we've kind of kept that feel because we want the campus to feel a bit like a community, a bit like it belongs in this kind of a neighborhood. That's changing slightly, and it will continue to evolve over the next, many years. But I think Oakwood remained in the place that it kind of is now because, from 1950 to the 1990s, Oakwood was still kind of figuring out who it was and building upon its finances and its endowment, and did not really have a chance to kind of build out a lot of those new and amazing spaces. The finances of the school are in a totally different place now. It's a very doing very well. It's a very strong fiscally. It's got a good endowment, but we've held on to the old kind of historical feel. So if you go to the elementary campus, for instance, the majority of those buildings are buildings that are, in the from the 60s to 70s, but as you walk inside, they're really state of the art. We've got high end technology. We've got a lot of just a lot of kind of those niceties that you would expect in a independent school. But we've also got a mixture of really brand new as well, state of the art. We've got a really nice library. We're getting ready to build a state of the art. We call it the Da Vinci Lab. It's a new construction project that'll start in June, which will include a kind of a maker space on the first floor and classrooms on the second floor of that building. We've got two amazing gymnasiums, one at the elementary campus, one at the secondary campus, that really none of the schools around us really, I think, can compete with that kind of a facility. And so you'll see that as you come to our campus and experience who Oakwood is, but that's been intentionally kind of left that way. But we've also kind of focused on modernizing and really and prioritizing student needs as well. And so just in 2021, 22, we took one of our spaces and we built out a brand new, first ever for the school, state-of-the-art kitchen. And so now all of our faculty, all of our staff, and all of our students have the opportunity to have breakfast, lunch, and after school, snacks. And so that's one of the newer things that we've brought into our school. Faculty, staff, have lunch as one of their perks, and it's been an amazing experience to kind of see our faculty and our students kind of coming together, not just in the classroom, but meeting together in the outside courtyards and having lunch together and talking and kind of focusing on building those relationships, which has been a really special experience and fun and rewarding to see that happen.
That's outstanding. We talk about relationships. Let's talk about the relationship with the director of finance and that partnership that's really important for you, but also talk about, as you have been leading and will be leading additional campaigns, additional construction projects, build outs, just major things that are on the horizon, where this role will play an important component in some of those projects, and what you're looking for to support the next chapter of the school.
Yeah. Well, the reason we're here is our director of finance, who has been just an incredible partner to me, is getting ready to retire at the end of the school year. She's been in her role since just a couple of months after I came, but I promoted her from within into that role, and she became our director of finance and just has done an incredible job with managing our operations. We've had a long-term handshake agreement. This is kind of the relationship piece that we've kind of said, hey, if any one of us are ever going to leave, we're going to agree right now that we're going to give each other a year's notice at minimum. And she did that. And so I think that kind of speaks to the relationships and the trust that we have for one another. Uh, uh, if I think about what has changed over the last 10 years of this role, it really, in so many ways, I think everything has really changed. From building our budgets on an Excel spreadsheet to really implementing technology. We've changed auditing firms and the how we do audits, and the technology that our auditors are bringing to the table and the comparisons that are coming to the table for us. I mean, really, just the department has really changed. But I think core to that, the department has, as I think about the director of finance and that team, the team has been here a long time. They're pros. I mean, they're really good at their jobs. They're competent at their jobs. There is this kind of what I love about the business office. I would say the entire operations team is we have a camaraderie. We meet on a regular basis. We talk. We laugh. And I think at the end of the day, everybody's kind of got each other's backs. We are very supportive of one another. As we think about the future for this position, we are in the process of Oakwood School's largest ever capital campaign. We're looking at a fundraising mountain that is more than we've ever raised in all of our capital campaigns combined before. So we're looking at trying to raise about $70 million, which is inclusive of 4 projects. One of those projects is this new building at the elementary campus that I mentioned earlier, this kind of makerspace and classroom project, which is scheduled to start in June of 2025. We've got a public-private partnership we're working with Los Angeles Rec and Parks, which is going to be a phenomenal kind of game changer for the school, where we will have our own athletic kind of complex that we share with both. I mean, we're gonna fund it, but we're gonna share that with our community and kind of make our community as a whole better, a better opportunity for everybody to serve the greater community of LA. We're working on a athletic practice facility. We've acquired some new property adjacent to the school that we're currently working into our master plan. That's in process. That project, if we think about building that out, that'll begin in the next couple of years. And then kind of the capstone of all of these projects is what we call our 3C Center. And it's going to be a very large facility that's going to really be focused mostly on the arts, but where we have community and collaboration and arts kind of all coming together within that. This role is pivotal. I mean, I would say the director of finance, of all of my direct reports, this position works the closest with me. We are kind of in the weeds together in looking at finances, working with finances. And what I'm looking for this position is somebody who I kind of describe it as kind of straddling the line between controller and CFO. It's somewhere kind of in between there. This role is really hands-on in kind of managing the day-to-day finances. Works very closely with me, attends all of the finance committee meetings with me, and kind of supports that role. But really, this position, I envision this position is taking the lead on all of our banking, our audit, the capital financing, and helping us to kind of work through all of that stuff, and then working on with our investment brokers on long-term investment. So this is really a role that is, in my mind, I think, the most vital partner that I have, and that's really what we're looking for in terms of we're looking for a pro who is really seasoned. And I think as a person, we're a fairly playful department. Yes, we take our jobs very serious, but we don't take ourselves too serious all the time. And I want somebody who's not always going to take themselves too serious all the time because look, we've got to spend a lot of time together. We need to be able to, connect and have great relationships. And we want somebody who's going to bring some joy to this as well and keep that kind of sense of community and joy within our department together. It's a great place to be. I mean, I left a fantastic career, would never look back because I think Oakwood has given me a sense of purpose that brings just an enormous sense of pride for me to be able to be a part of this place. And I'm looking for somebody who will do that with me.
Oh, it's wonderful. Final question, and I think just to connect that sense of purpose and clearly passion that you have for the school and the ability, you talked about some big projects, but also to think granular. Again, I actually want to almost go back and tell people who are listening about the tour that you took me on when we were walking. And I remember just specifically where you would point out like a little walkway that you knew with the trees a certain way. If we made some benches built into the corridor here, it'll just create a little learning opportunity. Something clearly has sparked in you this, you can see the opportunity. What I'd like you to just tell folks listening is like the impact on the program and the people that you're helping and just what it is about, what you've been able to do and see that does have this sense of purpose and kind of the why behind that. Just, again, how that has either had an impact on the program or how the little things have come back to you and people have talked about how much it matters. Just a little bit that you can share on that.
Sure. I think you're talking about I call it our $1 million walk. It's really
Yeah.
that's the walk that all of our prospective families are coming on. And so what we're thinking about our impact on the world really as a school. And so we've made this commitment to all of our future planting and all of our new landscaping will be California native plants. I mean, that's kind of what we're focusing on. Gabe, I think the easiest way, the best way, and this is going to sound maybe a little funny, but and maybe a little self-serving in some ways. Why I love doing what I do and getting out there and actually impacting it is Oakwood has been the home to my daughter. I mean, my daughter started in the elementary campus, and to be able to kind of just see how she has experienced and how this school has really impacted her and those who she associates with, those kids that are around her, has been amazing. I think what I am very involved, as you can probably imagine, in all of these little projects, and I, and collaborative. You talked about this kind of space where we kind of dug out and built this little amphitheater under this tree, and it's, by the way, beautiful. And it's amazing to see these kids coming out there and sitting in there and classes being held out there in this little space, which, by the way, is right next to a really busy highway. But it's kind of put in a place that doesn't really matter.
Only in Los Angeles.
Only in LA. Only in LA. We have limited space, and so the focus. We're on 6.5 acres, 7 acres, and we have to like make the most use of every one of these spaces. And so as we're thinking about and walking around our campus, we're like, okay, what could we do with this little space to really make it its own outdoor little room? And how can we better utilize that? And all of these ideas are not just mine. They're ideas that are coming from conversations uh, and input from students. One of my favorite things, this is really what I think motivates me, is it is not uncommon. You'll come into my office and you'll see students sitting in my office who just knock on the door and we're like, hey, Chris, by the way, first name basis for everybody. There's no Mr. There's no Miss. It's all first names, students to teachers and vice versa. And they'll just walk in, plop themselves down and lay out a proposal for me to, talk about what they want to do. And by the way, these kids are smart. They're proposing things having to do with everything from murals on a wall to changes in our operating budget to, new construction projects, and they are not afraid to share those ideas. And I think what's rewarding about the role that we have is we can work with those kids, show them that their ideas matter, and help them to kind of bring some of their vision to life where it makes sense. I think that's really the passion that I have. I don't know that I answered your question exactly, but it's a phenomenal place. It's great. So, and what else can I say?
No, you have said it all, and it is I can attest firsthand. It is a wonderful place, and I've seen the impact that you and your team have had, and can see the impact that you're looking to have. And we're looking forward to working with you on this search to help you bring an outstanding director of finance to the team, to the community, and ultimately to help continue to deliver on this amazing vision. So appreciate you taking the time today, Chris, and thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you, Gabe, and I'm looking forward to meeting our future candidates.
Excellent.